Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video today, we are going to talk about my reading goal for 2025. I had initially set it at 450 and I'm just going to run back over to my blog, which if you follow me, you already know is Robin Loves Reading. And in the last few years, I've done pretty good. Not so great in not so great in 2024, but up from, I'd say from 2018 actually to 2023, I did pretty good, reading between 400 and even 550 books a year. In 2024, I completed 390 books of my 350 book goal. So I thought I was going to get back into the swing of things by setting a goal for 2025 for 450, but I ran into the emotional changes that I experienced in April, continued all the way through May, and I realized that I had to lower my goal for the sake of not being discouraged. So I lowered my goal to 300. Well, I've gotten to 200. And I still have 5 months to go, or 4.5 months to go. But I think I'm going to leave it at 300 because it would just make it so that I'm not putting undue pressure on myself. When I mention this goal, any avid reader knows about Goodreads, and Goodreads has a Goodreads challenge where you set the goal each year. Nobody's watching you, nobody's leaning over your shoulder, nobody's looking at if you're reading novels or graphic novels or children's books. It's just a goal that you set. It's a personal endeavor, and I set one every year and have been, like I said, setting one since 2018. So I'm just going to give you some stats. I will try to do some editing, and with the editing, hopefully I can bring in some graphics on the screen or screenshots at the very least. You're going to see me look down, and when you see me looking down, I'll let you know in advance that I'm looking down at my iPad Pro, which will enable me to be able to shoot out these numbers that I'd like to share with you. And I think while I do that, I might run a slideshow of the 200 books that I've read this year. I haven't created that slideshow yet, but I'll go ahead and get that created. So let's start with the month of January. January, I was raring to go. So much so that I read 50 books in January. Yeah, 50. I can't even believe it, but I did. I got 50 books read. And then February, I dipped a little bit, 45, still a good number. But remember I said March, then April, even May. It just went lower, lower, and lower. And that's when I started thinking about resetting my goal. Now, in February, like I said, I think I said I read 45. But in March, it went down to 27. In April, it really went down to 15. I climbed a wee bit in May by getting to 17. And then I started to get back my groove, and I got 27 read in June. And as of July, I have read 19. I am probably about 42% done with book number 201. So I'm almost at 20 books for July so far. And I figure with another 10, that should be about 30 books for July. My basic goal is a book a day. If I can read 2 books in a day, great. But at the bare minimum, I'd like to get 2 a day. So let's talk about the most and least amount of pages that I read per month. Now, as mentioned, in January with 50 books read, I read a whopping number of 15,786 pages. That little dip in February when I read 45 books, I dropped down to 14,311 pages. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my January average per page per day was 509 pages a day in reading. So January was a really good month. When I started to slow down in March, which was almost 50% less, I read 9,159 pages across 27 books. in April with my lowest number for this year so far of 15 books read. I only read 4,988 pages. Now I do want to run over to my spreadsheet to see what my pages per day in April was compared to what it was in January. So I have a summary page on my Google Sheets, and I'm just trying to get to that stat. So in January, remember I said I read an average of 509 pages a day. Well, in April, that was only 166 pages a day. So with me, what you'll see with this channel, whether it's cross-stitching, jigsaw puzzles, reading, reviewing, even diamond painting, I go in ebbs and flows. And if I'm dealing with a bipolar situation, then my reading is going to be less. Ironically, I should have been out of winter blues by April, but yet I still reached a bipolar low. That carried its way into May because I read 5,412 pages, a little bit better per day, which was 175 pages a day. By June, I had decided, okay, I think I'm back. I think I can do this. I can enjoy it again, whether it's the book reviews or whatever have you. So in June, with those 27 books that I read, I jumped up to 306 pages a day. And as of July, I'm at 6,282 pages a day. And I did not tabulate what that factors into now, but anybody, it's basically, there's 16 days, 6282 divided by 16 is however many pages per day. All right, so those were my stats for most and least amount of pages read in a month this year. Now, I read basically, the majority of my books are over 300 pages, between 300 and 399 pages. In that page range, I read 122. I have read some bigger books up to 499 pages, and that was for a total of 20. And then I have read one very low count book, which was a 36-page children's book, which was 1. And then I've had a couple of, not a couple, but a few dozen 200 to 299 pages, and that was 55. Now, I think I have already given this total, but if I haven't given it to you yet, as of now, I have read 65,123 pages for 2025. This is averaging across, until today, an average of 326 pages a day. So that allows for the 509 dropping down to the 166 and so forth. And I did have 2 DNFs, but I did not track how many hours I read for the 2 do not finishes. Reading is subjective, and I know I have no notes on this, but I do want to mention, you'll hear people that say, oh, I read for the experience of immersing myself into the world that I'm reading, and I sit with my characters and I have really absorbed the stories. Or I don't read just to read, and I don't read for numbers, I don't read for figures, I don't read for stats. No, I read because I love reading. That is what my blog is, robinlovesreading.com. Yes, I love to read, but I also love numbers. In school, math was my favorite subject, algebra, geometry, you name it. I love numbers, and I have never lost that love of numbers. Because of that love of numbers, I have statistics. And I also am somebody who likes to keep spreadsheets on any number of things. It could be the number of books that I'm reading each year, the number of blog tours that I'm working on each month and each year, even my budget, or the series that I'm reading, because I do track multiple series. So spreadsheets are important to me, and it just makes my life one that brings me joy. So I'm going to end this video. I think I might do something with, like I said, with a rolling graphic of all the books that I've read so far this year, but I haven't created that graphic yet, so let's see if I decide to do that. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you with my next video.